Good morning. I'm John Jorphy with All About Chippewa Valley, and I have the honor of meeting with Jason at Gibson Water Care this morning. Here to talk about one of the great resources we have locally, and that's great water. I was recently on a trip to Vienna, Austria. Vienna claims to have the best tap water in the world, uh, referencing their spring water from the mountains. And I must say, it was very good, but it did remind me of Eau Claire water. So I was pleasantly surprised, and think we have, a great resource, and we have to protect the resource, and that's why I wanted to meet with Jason today. Morning, Jason.
Morning.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about, different chemicals showing up in the water. PFAS, or forever chemicals, um, have been in the local water. I think the city of Eau Claire's found some in a couple of their wells, and I just
Yep,
wanted to,
precisely. Yep.
yeah, I wanted to have you shed some light for us regarding, what's happening with some of these dangerous chemicals, and what do we have to potentially anticipate in the future, and how do we manage these things?
Well, we have a great resource here in Wisconsin, and it is our groundwater. We have some problems, man-made and natural. One thing here at Gibson's Water Care is we want you to have the best water, um, whether that be drinking water or working water. Working water is the water that we use to bathe, and then of course we want great drinking water. Many of these things aren't absorbed through our skin, but they are absorbed through our bodies as we drink them. And one of the greatest ways of getting some of these things out of there, whether it's PFAS or nitrates or arsenic, is reverse osmosis. Our reverse osmosis machines are built right here in Wisconsin, so it's all locally made. We're very proud of that, but that can give you what would be contributed to bottled water, quality water. And so if you're concerned about those things, we have other things that can take care of the entire house, but reverse osmosis is a very good option to give you good quality drinking water.
Hmm. And would you say that's probably the most economic way to manage?
For your drinking water, yes.
Yeah.
We have a full line of rental, full line to purchase. We provide all the service that you need on those particular systems. But it all starts with a good water test to see what's going on in the water. That's
Hmm.
one of the things that we always like to know what's going on to see what exactly we can target.
Sure.
But one of the biggest things, like you said, John, is peace of mind. We want good quality water, but we want to know that perhaps those things aren't in your water. But if you're not testing for them, you don't know.
Yeah.
And so the peace of mind
Yeah.
with good quality drinking water is one of the best things.
What kind of variations from over the course of time can a separate well have when it comes to testing? Uh, I know that water quality is going to change, but you know, um, is it season to season, decade to decade? It really just a variable that you can't really put your finger on.
It is a little bit of both. We do see wells change over the years. Dry seasons like we had this last year, wet seasons like we had 5, 6 years ago. One of the other things is that subdivisions. The water seems to get worse the more wells that are drilled.
Hmm.
We just shake up that ground. Now, some of those things do settle out. It always seems like the first people in the subdivision have the best water, and as they drill more and more wells, the water gets consistently bad because we're shaking that ground up. Sometimes they can release things into the water that were dormant, and they hit a bad vein of something. Like radon in the air, it's an equal opportunity offender. One person who has radon, the next door neighbor might not have radon. The same thing with nitrates and arsenics and PFAS is that your well might have it, but somebody 40 feet away might not have it.
Hmm.
And so, but you won't know if you have it unless you're testing for it. And that's where the peace of mind comes from. So,
Sure, sure. Well, having been on a well multiple times in my life, and feeling very fortunate, we've had good wells each time. I've seen in the subdivisions I've lived in the variation from neighbor to neighbor, from having, heavy iron, um, clean water to muddy water,
yep,
and then you have the bacterial iron in some
yep,
cases that
yep.
that shows up, which definitely treatable, but it can clog things up pretty readily, and not a fun thing to have.
Yeah, you always got the one neighbor who's got the brown driveway and the brown trees and the brown siding, and the guy right next door has no equipment at all, has perfect water, and that's the
Yeah,
nature of well water.
yeah,
It can definitely change from vein to vein because more often than not, people think they're in a big chasm of water. They think they're in a big aquifer per se, and more often than not, you're in the water table, and that water table has different veins, and you can hit a good vein of water 10 feet away, you can hit a bad vein of water. So
hmm
that's one of the things, that the misconceptions out there is everybody thinks that just because you're in the same subdivision you're going to have the same water, and that's not always the case.
Sure,
That's not always the case. About
sure.
50% of the time, yeah, that subdivision will all have the same water, but there's always those one or two people. Somebody's got to have the best water, somebody's got to have the worst water.
Yeah, yeah. And to sum it up, getting back to, making sure you have clean water for you and your family. Um, Basically, reverse osmosis is probably one of the best solutions we have available to us for
Absolutely.
consistently good
Absolutely.
drinking and cooking water.
Excellent to quality drinking water. A lot of your bottled water start out as reverse osmosis water. They have a water supply source, whether it be municipal or spring water, but a lot of that goes through a large reverse osmosis and into the bottle and into the public. So reverse osmosis can give you bottled water quality.
Sure. And I'd rather have that be the filter than my body. So
Exactly. Exactly. You don't want your body be filtering out something that you can have the reverse osmosis to.
yeah.
So
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Jason.
thanks, John.